Mike Pereira, Fox Sports, NFL rules analyst, former vice president of officiating. Mike joins us this morning. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Is there anything to talk about?
Only the fact that I at least have another job for a year. It's the kind of yesterday keeps me employed.
Aren't you glad that you're not the vice president of officiating anymore?
Oh, my God. That's my favorite word is former.
Okay. What did you see with the Jesse James catch, non-catch?
Well, I saw it was incomplete immediately when I saw the first replay. We were all sitting in here in the studios in Los Angeles, and myself, Dean Blandino, and our staff, when we saw the first replay, we said incomplete. And we knew it was just going to be a matter of time before replay actually initiated the review and then made the decision. Here's the notion, and I've been obviously following social media and listening to what people are saying about me, but all of the reasons that people are using to say it is a catch, that the knee was down, that he turned upfield, that he lunged for a touchdown, that he reached for a touchdown, all of those are out the window. All of those get trumped by going to the ground. So you have to hold. When you're going to the ground, you can turn upfield, you can do all that stuff, but as with Des Bryant a couple years ago, you must hold on to the ball. And so we knew immediately that it was going to be reversed to incomplete.
All right. But let me look at this step by step. In my opinion, catch the ball. Now, you make a football move, your knee goes down. Now, I thought when your knee goes down, you have the ball, you make a football move. Now it becomes a fumble. He did break the plane. The ball bobbled after his elbow hit the ground. So what am I missing in that equation with knee going to the ground, have the ball extending to go over the goal line?
What you're missing here is a couple of things. Number one, the notion of going to the ground, so it trumps all that. Number two is you are not a runner. You have not become a runner because you have not completed the process of the catch. Everything basically that you're talking about and everybody else is talking about when it comes to making a football move all applies to the receiver who is upright on his feet. He gets control, 2 feet down, turns upfield. Now he's hit, and the ball comes loose. There you have a catch and fumble because he completed the 3 elements. But the 3 elements only apply to that receiver that's on his feet. It does not apply to the runner going to the receiver going to the ground to attempt to complete the process of the catch. And that's what makes it difficult. And I grant you that we have made it difficult for people to understand. I say we, but we have made it difficult for people to understand what is a catch. But if you look at that first in real time, the live coverage that CBS had, the one thing you conclude immediately is that James is going to the ground. So you know then at that point, forget knee, forget steps, forget lunge, forget everything. The ground trumps everything. And so you have to survive the ground. And we had a couple of different situations where that happened yesterday, where ruling on the field was catch reversed to instant replay to incomplete on the same criteria. And I know it's tough, but that is the rule. That's what the competition committee has put in place, and that's where replay is. Somebody asked me this morning, it was an interesting question. Back in your days when you were on the field, would that have been a touchdown? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I know.
And the reason that it is because there was no instant replay. So instant replay has gotten into this with this technology and dissected everything to see the ball just touching the ground and to see the laces flip over and reverses it to incomplete. But that was the right ruling.
Can the ground cause a fumble?
Sure, but you're a runner. Okay, you're a runner now. The ground can cause a fumble if you're not touched by a defender, and then the ground can cause a fumble. If you're touched, then the ground cannot. But again, you're a runner. You have two different. You don't become a runner until you've completed the process of the catch.
But doesn't it, Mike? Doesn't this go back to that stupid Calvin Johnson ruling of completing the process, and the NFL is holding on for dear life about completing the process?
Yeah, it does, but it really goes back further than that to Bert Emanuel back in the playoffs in '99, I think it was. That's where we flipped it and said, look at, the fact that the ball touches the ground shouldn't take away a great catch if, in fact, you hold on to the ball. So we made that change then. And maybe we're suffering the consequences of it now. But, people say to me when you have a play that, looks to the 50 guys in the bar that it's a catch or a touchdown or whatever, then it ought to be. But here's the kicker to me in this catch-no-catch thing. I'm just not sure that replay belongs in this, because replay then really dissects it, and that's where replay is now. They dissects it to a frame-by-frame thing and looks at it and finds a way to overturn it, the ruling on the field, which to the officials looks like a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's why it's ruled that way, but that's where we are today.
Would you get rid of the rule?
I'm not sure that I would get rid of the rule. I mean, you have to have some guidelines. Look at when the competition committee talked about this in terms of, should going to the ground, should a reach, should a lunge, should a turn up field complete the process of the catch going to the ground. I think the committee was concerned, rightfully so, is you're going to bring in the element of gray here. They wanted it to be black and white, so it would be easier to make the decisions in replay and on the field. So I don't think I'd change the rule. We're just talking about a couple of plays, maybe just, one or two plays per weekend that get people perplexed. So I might change it to try to make it more, bring common sense more into it. But then again, as I say that, Dan, I don't have the answer. I wouldn't know what to do to change it.
He's Mike Pereira, Fox Sports NFL rules analyst and former vice president of officiating.
Thank you very much.
Okay, a couple other plays here. Explain to me the butt cheeks in the Carolina game. Because does one butt cheek equal 2 feet?
That's it. It's one cheek equals 2 feet. I mean, it's the old John Madden thing, of one knee equals 2 feet. Well, one anything equals 2 feet, except a hand. I mean, the hand doesn't equal 2 feet, but an elbow equals 2 feet. A single butt cheek, and the difference is, you have we call the heel toe on the sidelines. If it's a natural step, and you get the heel down first and then the toe lands out of bounds, it's incomplete. You have to get the whole foot in bounds, but you don't have to get the whole butt down in bounds. You just have to get one cheek. And so you don't have to press flesh all the way on the ground for it to be a catch. It's just that first touch of a cheek.
Here we are, grown men, talking about this.
I know it.
Gene Steratore with the index card, measuring for the first down. Does everybody have an index card to slide it down to see if the football is going to touch the first down marker?
Well, you don't. You have a card, but not for that reason. Every official has a card that they record the penalties that they call on the field. They write down OH76 if they call holding. They have to record the timeouts on a card. So you all have a card, and that's an old trick.Steratore's an old dog.
But he folded it, Mike. Why fold it? Why not just slide the index card down, without folding it over?
Well, it's interesting because in his pool report after the game, he actually said that he had already decided that it was a first down, and he was just using the card to validate the decision that he already made, which to me is a little bit nonsensical. I've done it when I was a referee. I did it, but it was only when I couldn't tell. I actually didn't see him fold it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think he did.
I didn't see it, but nothing Gene Steratore does surprise me. He's the ultimate showman. He looks good. He looks confident, and when he gets that television time, whether it's at a college basketball game or an NFL football game, he is going to get the most out of the camera. Ed Hockley gets the most out of the camera when he talks. Gene gets the most out of the camera when he just poses and looks and makes his signals.
All right, explain this illegal touching. First of all, I don't like that how that is designated, what it's called, the illegal touching. Brandon Cooks gets penalized because there's illegal touching. He didn't do the touching. It's the defensive back that did the touching.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject, which it's kind of a ridiculous penalty, to tell you the truth.
Because I can force you out of bounds, Mike, and it's to my benefit as a defensive player.
Correct, and even though, and it's a different rule in college and the NFL, even though you're forced out of bounds, you can't come back in and be the first to touch unless you're fouled out of bounds. So if they'd have called illegal contact, for example, and then that illegal contact forced them out of bounds, and then you come back in, then you can, if you immediately come back in and reestablish, you can make the catch. But it's kind of one of those silly penalties. There's no yardage associated with it. It's just an incomplete pass. But, you know, it's another thing about rules that I don't like, and that's that play in college is a catch, and you get the gain, and in the NFL, it's not. It's an illegal touch. I would love to see more uniformity in terms of the rules. They're complicated enough.
Yeah.
And so if we could somehow make them more alike on Saturdays and Sundays, we'd all benefit, and that includes the officials who come from college, and it takes an adjustment period of the different rules when they get to the NFL, you know, since they've been doing college for probably 10, 15 years before they get there.
It's confusing here, Mike.
I just exasperated you, didn't I? Jeez, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just that, you know, I was talking, you know, over text messages to Joe Buck, you know, last night, and it had to do with the fumble play or the incomplete pass in Pittsburgh and the butt cheek play in our game. And it's just, and this is Joe's point, it's just become too technical.
Yeah.
And it's almost not fun for fans or announcers to watch. I mean, I get Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. I mean, that was a strange play, and they finally picked up on it at the end before the announcement was made. But this game probably, because of all the technology, has gotten too technical. And it becomes, I agree with this, it becomes harder to watch. But old George Young, I mean, God bless him. Before he passed away, he was at one point he was the head of football operations at the NFL, and he was there in 1999 in that role when we brought replay back. And he had a manila folder, and instead of on the tab writing instant replay as we explored putting this back in, he wrote in huge letters, he wrote, "The monster grows," and underlined it. And you know what?
He's right.
He's right. This has really changed the game, and I'm not sure it has changed it for the better.
Mike, enjoy your Monday.
I shall.
Thank you, Mike. That's Mike Pereira, Fox Sports NFL rules analyst, former vice president of officiating. It's exhausting.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.